got 2 drills on site now turning. And we've got a really fantastic asset in Alaska called Johnson Tract. This is a project that had no work done on it for about 25 years. It was basically hidden from the market entirely. It came our way. It was the catalyst for forming this company, and really is our flagship. And it's produced some outstanding historic results, and been severely underexplored. So, just off the top here, just a bit of an investor 101 in a way. When I look at exploration companies, I look at a few things. I look at the share structure. I look at who's in the deal, the shareholder roster. Have they got cash to execute and do what they want to do? It's great to have great ideas, but you need money to actually go test them. And do you have a management team that's real and committed and focused on actually turning the company into something and finding something? And that's something I think we really pride ourselves on. I'm a founder of this company, and we want to build this into a Tier 1 explorer. And you do that by looking for Tier 1 assets. If you're going to spend all this work and dedicate all this time, you might as well go for the best of the best. And that's what we're looking for. Obviously, as an investment, you want to think there's some upside value. So hopefully at the end of this, you'll feel the same way as I do. Capitalization structure. So we are fairly new. We started trading September 23rd of 2019. We've done 2 financings. We raised $7 million out of the gates, 7.65 actually, and within 2 months following that, we raised another $9.3 million at about 2.5 times the original finance price. That leaves us with 40 million shares outstanding right now. We've got about 13 million in the bank. We have executed a drill program already in Alaska. And we also have about 6 million in the money warrants. Even given the latest correction here, they're still in the money. The market cap's a little off there. I did this a couple of weeks ago when we were $1.15. We actually went up to $1.25, and I think we're 90 cents is what we closed on Friday. Anyhow, and as far as the shareholder roster goes, we're really proud of and happy with the people that have been willing to give us their funds, trusted us to go explore on their behalf. Rob McEwen, well-known mining entrepreneur, senior gold producer, big North American gold producer, and some top-notch blue-chip funds. People, we pride ourselves in our technical strength. We're in the exploration business, so you want good geology people running your company, in my view. You want Steve Jobs, a good technical guy, running a company like Apple. So this is what we do. As far as the board goes, I was able to assemble a great team, I think that are a nice endorsement for our group. Mike Cinnamon, he's CFO for B2 Gold. Michael Gray, well-respected analyst. Lance Miller, he's a real U.S. connection. But the whole team has had a lot of success in the business, and hope to repeat that with Highgold. Where we are, we're in Alaska. We're a very accessible part of Alaska, coastal Alaska, so it's pretty mild climate as far as Alaska goes. But more importantly, it's right close to tidewater. A road would need to be built to access it, but it'd be about 20 kilometers in length, which is really pretty trivial in the grand scheme of mining projects. Not much more to say there. It's a great spot to be looking for mineralization. Speaking of mineralization, Johnson here, it's an unusual deposit. It's somewhere between an epithermal and what they refer to as a VMS, or volcanogenic massive sulfide. Don't need to get too bogged down on the details, but it's unusual because we've got really high-grade base metals with really high-grade gold. You don't often see gold in the concentrations we see them with zinc in the concentrations we see them here. It's unusual. Same with copper. It has been likened to Hod Maden in Turkey and Eskay Creek. Hod Maden we really like, not just because of the similarities deposit style, but really it's one of those special deposits. You don't see many deposits out there that feasibility or mines that have a better than $1 billion NPV valuation and the kind of returns that it has of plus 50% IRR. That is the prize. It's what we're looking for. We think we got a good piece of one of those already, and we've got a path to grow and find the rest of it, if you will. So this is what the deposit looks like. It's a long section. For scale, that sort of yellow highlighted area there, that's 100 to 200 meters in width, strike length. We've taken it from surface, or it's been defined from surface down to a depth of about 275 meters. What's most impressive about this, above and beyond the incredibly wide widths of a fantastic grade, is the continuity. You've got, those yellow pierce points on there. They're coded to grade thickness product, gold equivalent times drilled intersections of better than 100, anywhere from 100 to 1,000. That's fantastic. So you see that kind of continuity of those kind of grades. The yellow stars are plus 1,000 gram meter intersections. There's room to grow this. I'm going to tell you one of the areas to make it much, much bigger, but even within here, small step outs are meaningful. The grades we have, you typically see over sort of 2 meters, 15, 20 grams per ton. It's the kind of thing you could mine till the cows come home. This one intersection there, I know that's 75 meters of 18 grams. That true width is about 40 meters. So a 100-meter step out on 40 meters, if you hit 40 meters of the same mineralization, is equivalent to a 2-kilometer step out on a 2-meter wide vein system. Just saying that to highlight the power, magnitude of width and the meaning of width. And it also helps you on the mining side and the operation side, which leads to margin, which leads to the billion NPV and IRR. So in cross-section, great continuity from top to bottom. Some of the best grades we're seeing down deep, 75 meters at 20 grams, 100 meters at 12.5 grams, but it's cut off by a fault. And that fault, basically, this system, we think, would have kept projecting, except it's been displaced by this fault. That's more or less what the fault looks like. It's taken the bottom edge of the deposit and it's shifted it to the northeast. It's purely strike-slip type motion, moved about 500 to 800 meters to the northeast. And we know it's there. We know it's there because they actually drilled it historically. So, but not very much because it was deep. It was down about 400 meters in terms of actual drill length, and they only got a handful of holes down into there that quantified the exact same alteration of mineralization. So that's kind of our number one target where we're going. It's basically sitting there waiting for us to pick up where they left off. Odds are there's going to be good grade and width, given that what we saw on the other side of the fault before it got offset. This is a plan view map that kind of just highlights what we saw. So the red dots you see on this were basically what you saw on that last map, so that number 1 area. It originally would have been sitting down where the number 3 is. The orange that you see is the alteration footprint. It's about 2 kilometers in length. It has a north-south trend. All the past work was very much focused on a northeast-southwest trend following stratigraphy with a VMS model. Clearly this thing's cross-cutting. What that means is there's, 10% of the whole system's been tested with past drilling, and we've got lots of really good targets to go chasing. Scale out further, that last map was the inset you see here. This is part of a system that you can track for about 12 kilometers. You can fly to the next valley, see big valley scale alteration system, go the next valley over. One of our favorites is Difficult Creek. It's 4.5, 5 kilometers northeast of the main deposit area. It has very similar, unique style of alteration and mineralization as the main deposit. I don't have time to go into the details. You can get high grade at surface. We have channel samples there of, plus 20 meters plus 20 grams over 1.5 meters. Found a brand new vein 900 meters away from the old prospect, just waiting for more work. So that's Johnson. Switching gears, Johnson's really our flagship, but I don't want it to overshadow our Ontario projects. We've got a great portfolio of projects. 3 properties, 2 are very big land positions. They're more grassroots. They're really discovery-focused, conceptual targets in the right area and the right camp. Munro Croesus, on the other hand, is a former past producer. Small scale, but produced some fabulously high-grade gold. We will be drilling all 3 of these projects. We are drilling all 3 of these projects right now. 5,000-meter program that just kicked off this past week. Croesus, it's a pretty special opportunity. It was in private hands pretty much forever. There was a little bit of drilling in the 1940s, a little bit in the 1970s, and again, when the precursor to Highgold had it in 2009, 2011. All of that work focused on the main high-grade vein itself. That sample there is, I think, 17,000 ounces per ton. There's samples in the Royal Ontario Museum, big samples that run similar grade. It's a really, really unique geologic setting that's produced that gold. We think there's room to find more of it, but more importantly, we have a model of how it was created, and we think we can duplicate that elsewhere on the property. And that's a big part of our strategy going forward. It's not just going back to the same old. We're going to be applying a more property scale exploration approach, and this year's program is hopefully just the first of many, many kicks at it. As far as market cap valuation and where we are as a company, I kind of put together a peer group comparison. I took high-grade stories that were in stable first-world jurisdictions. They command a premium. We believe we're in this group. And then what I did is I just took their market cap and I compared drill intersections. Almost all of these stories are drill stories, drill bit stories, i.e. they're really being ranked on the success of the drill bit, so there's not a resource to compare against. And if you're going to do that, our drill holes basically are about as good as you get out there. It's a great story, so I'm out here marketing saying we should be in that sort of... My near-term goal is to close the gap. If we have the success, I hope, out there in the field this summer at Johnson and/or Ontario, hopefully we'll be closer to the right end of the scale. And just to add to that, I think out of all these groups, you got to look through a full checklist. What's the share structure? Who's in the deal? Do you have the money to execute? All those elements, we think we check all the boxes. Just to wrap up, so our achievements, raised a total of $17 million in 2019, had a fantastic drill program, generated some of the industry's best drill holes for the year. Drilling in Ontario, we'll have a resource estimate out on Johnson here in the next couple of months, and we'll be kicking off drilling at Johnson late May. Thank you.